Tyler Young has officially been traded to the West Coast Eagles for pick 38 in return, which has turned out to be a reasonably good outcome, I reckon, given the circumstances. I mean, Tyler Young out of contract for Richmond, and from all reports, the West Coast Eagles money that they were offering was substantially higher than what we were offering. And he took the bigger offer to set himself up, and I can't blame him. He's about to turn 27 years old, and given he was a late starter to the AFL, this is his chance to make the most of a contract negotiation, so fair play to him. I guess there's a lot of talk about, well, why didn't we match the offer? We have the money. We do have the money, but you've also got to have a plan of how you're going to spend the money as well. And there would be thresholds and limits for all different player types that you would have as a club. And yeah, the money sounded like it was maybe 100 to 150,000 more, I'm guessing, per year than what we were offering. And year-wise, I think we were okay with, but I have a funny feeling that we wanted to do 2 years to sort of coincide with Tasmania to see if anything then happened at that point in time. But Young's made his choice and he wants to go to the Eagles. And yeah, it's ended up playing out okay. And, you know, pick 38, I see a lot of comments on socials already saying, oh, but it's going to blow out to pick 50 by the time all the academies and father-sons happen and things like that. It actually could go the other way. It actually could come in further. It could come into like a 35 or a 36 or stay closer to 38, because you've got to remember that with all of these academy bids that are going to happen, that clubs have to use multiple picks that are going to get absorbed in the draft to be able to get their academy player. So Gold Coast might have to use 3 or 4 picks in the 20s and 30s that will then bring everyone down the order. Brisbane might have to do the same. Sydney with King might have to do the same again. So the pick may actually come in closer than what the 38. In fact, I feel like that's actually more likely than it blowing out. Yet to be seen, depending on who bids and when the bids come in. But it really does highlight the importance of clubs to bid in order for the pick to come in. Not that you want to have a heavy reliance on other clubs. But yeah, I wouldn't get too panicked about it being in the 50s, because I think, yeah, it could actually go the other way and be a better result for us again. So where does that leave us? I guess the initial connection that it's easy to make is that pick can be used to match a Louis Callaway bid. On the surface, I agree, but the more this is all unfolded, I actually don't know whether a bid's going to come for Louis Callaway at that pick 38 or earlier mark to force us to have to use it. There's a good chance that a bid might come afterwards, in which case we would maybe then just have to trade a future fourth in or something like that to pick him up. Or if he gets past pick, is it 52 or 53, whatever it might be, then we don't even need to match it. We just need a list spot. So I'm not fully sold that he will get bid on high enough for us to have to use that pick on him, even though it's there and we could just potentially use it on him straight out in the draft. But it also gives us some options of players who might slide to that point in the draft, on the assumption that the pick doesn't move out to 50 and it stays at 38 or better, which is a really good chance. There could be some players like the following still at that pick that we could take them in the draft and then look to trade in a future fourth to get Louis Callaway, and you sort of add an extra player to your list. Sam Swadling, he could still be there. He's from WA, 187 centimetre midfielder. Averages about 35 disposals in the Colts. Some games he was hitting 40s, so he has no issues in finding the ball, so he's one that could still be there. Fred Rodriguez might be a surprise one that slides. If you look at his draft range, people have had him somewhere in the mid-20s all the way to the 40s, so it's going to vary from, I suppose, mock draft to mock draft. But Fred Rodriguez, 184 centimetre mid from WA. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard of him because last year he was really, really highly touted. I'm not quite sure why the slip has gone from sort of top 10 to now in the 20s and 30s, but he might be one that's still there. He averaged 25.3 disposals in the Colts as well. Dual-sided and is the WA captain. Riley Onley is another one who some of you may have heard of from last year. 194 centimetre midfielder from the Murray Bushrangers. Very physical, imposing, explosive mid. Ball use is probably the question mark on him, which is maybe why he's now slid a bit further down from the top, I suppose, 10 and 15 ranks down to end of first, early second round status or mid-second round status. But he's another one that could be there. Rory Wright, who is 183 centimetre mid/defender from Sandringham. He averaged 25.5 disposals. And he actually had a move to the half back line, which probably started to make him shine a bit. So he's a left foot, pretty much like a left foot quarterback, if you want to word it that way. So he could be one. I've seen a few people sort of liken his game to what Josh Lindsay does, but you're going to be able to get him for a bit cheaper at a lower pick. So he could be someone to consider as a half-back option at something around that pick. Matt Leray would be another one that could be at this pick at 189 centimetres. He's a wingman from South Australia. He played in the national champs on the other side of Harley Barker, so they were the two wingmen for South Australia. He averaged 16.7 disposals in the champs. Probably not as, I don't know, I don't think he's as athletic as what Harley Barker is, but I mean, you can sort of obviously develop and build on that in the AFL environment. So, but as a pure wingman, I can see why there would be appeal there for us, given it's a position that we do need to look to fill. Blake Benier from South Australia, 182 centimetre mid, great ball user, averaged 25 disposals in the sandful. He was one that Tommy Wolf identified as well, who was on the live last week as someone that could be a bit of a bolter, and even the ESPN rankings say that he could be one of the steals of the draft if he goes at that range, just given the quality of the ball use that he has. And finally, Jack Dalton, surprisingly, could still be there. He's probably one I'm less convinced of being there just on the back of his combine results with the 2K time trial, taking that out. 177 centimetre mid, won the 2K time trial at the combine, and he had a really, really good back half of the year playing in the finals as well. And I think he might be a good chance to go a fraction higher. There might be some question marks over the height, given he's as a midfielder. But you look at players like Kane Lambert, Caleb Daniel to a lesser extent. Like, yeah, they can still play at AFL level, right? They just might have to be in a slightly different spot to where they're playing in Coates League. But all I'm saying is there will be some players there for selection at that pick 38. So we don't necessarily need to use it on Callaway, and we can still maybe look to trade in later on to get Callaway in, or just use a list spot. So we've got a few options now, which is really interesting. Best case scenario is someone like Harley Barker slips to this pick. Very, very unlikely, but you never know your luck. There's, every year we always see there's someone who's a massive slider that everyone's like, oh shit, okay. And maybe it's him, just on the back of the ACL injury. But either way, those names there, I think you'd be pretty happy to land one of them with pick 38. They would be a handy addition to the club, and I think you could see them working their way into senior status in 1 to 2 years. So it could be a free hit, but yeah, worst case, someone bids on Callaway early and we use that pick. But it's not all doom and gloom, so don't worry about it slipping into the 50s, folks. I don't think that's likely. I think we're likely to have it stay at about the 38s, but we just need all teams to bid. Bid till your heart's content. Make all these clubs have to absorb their picks, because that's the key to it not blowing out. So draft night will be fascinating. I think Bidmond might be back. I won't be shocked if we throw in quite a few bids, especially early, to try and absorb some of these picks and maybe land a cheeky player or two by clubs not matching. So I'll have to see how we go. But there you go. Tyler Young done to West Coast for pick 38. All the best, Tyler. We obviously hope you go well. West Coast have picked up a beauty. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Are you happy with the trade? Are you happy with pick 38? Do you think we could have done better? I think we've done as good as we could have done, all things considered. But keen to hear your thoughts. Make sure you like and subscribe for more. And I'll see you for the next one. Go Tigers.